Well, hello, this is Mike Lamneck with Mike Lamneck Music. Won't you take the time to subscribe, comment, and like the video if you would like to see more of this content, if it helps you out at all. As I prepare for some upcoming Christmas shows, I would like to share just some points on what you can do if you are perhaps just starting out and are doing your first gig or one of your first shows. The best way to practice for upcoming shows, which is what I'm doing now. One important thing is to set up the equipment the way it will be set up at the venue that you're playing at, if at all possible. If you're in a smaller setting, if you're in an apartment, you might not have that option, but if at all possible, do that and record your performance back. Audio, video's even better. If you can set up a video and record it so you see what you look and sound like. Because honestly, just sitting on the couch playing your songs, you might sound pretty good to yourself, but once you go ahead and record that video or audio, you get an idea of what you really sound like. And this also gives you the opportunity to set the levels. Most of us will be using a mixer of some sort, right? And you can set the levels. Now, I know when you go into the room where you're playing, the volume might differ. But what you can do is you can set the level for your vocal and for your guitar. And then when you get to the venue, you know that the guitar and vocal level are good. They match. The guitar isn't overpowering. The vocal isn't overpowering. That they blend well. So once you get those individual settings together, then you can just adjust the master, and that won't upset those individual settings, and at the same time it will let you adjust the volume to the room that you're playing in. Now, if you're going to stand while playing for either part or the entire show, then practice that way, because as I said earlier, it's not the same as sitting on the edge of your couch and playing songs. If you're using special equipment, pedals for instance, I use a chorus pedal to beef up the choruses when I do solo shows. Then that gives you the opportunity to use that as well, which you can't do if you're just sitting down playing without your equipment. Now, I stand for part of my shows and sit for part of my shows. If you do that, then practice that way as well, because standing and sitting and playing are entirely different. And not only that, but sitting on the stool. This is the same stool that I use when I go out and play. Sitting on that same chair or stool that you are going to use is also helpful. Now, if you don't have one and you just use whatever the venue might have, that's fine too. But if you have the choice to go ahead and practice on whatever you're going to be sitting on, because, you know, it is different to sit on a stool or sit on a, say, a flat metal chair. There's a little difference there. So if you have the option to choose the stool or chair that you sit in to practice on, then do that. It's helpful. And, of course, singing over a mic is a lot different than singing just to yourself. So if you practice with the equipment set up the way that you're going to be using it at the gig, then that's very helpful, because sometimes you have problems with what they call plosives, which is peas popping, and you can detect that. So I did that when I was practicing. I detected that I had some plosive issues, so I went ahead and I set things up accordingly, and I'm using a mic screen to cut that out. So if I hadn't practiced with a microphone, I wouldn't have known that until I got to the venue. When you practice, go through as much of your set list as possible. I normally do like a 2 to 3 hour show. So If you can go through all of that, that's great. You don't have to do it in one sitting. You can break it into 2 or 3 segments, but try to go through all the songs you're going to be doing at least once. And as I said earlier, recording is invaluable. It really is the best way to get better, is to record yourself and listen to it back. Or again, if you can videotape, just videotape and see how you look and sound at the same time. But that is the best way to really improve your abilities. Now, another important thing is, are you singing the songs in the best key for your voice? You know, for years I was hindered with thinking that I had to sing songs in their original key, mainly because I just didn't know how to transpose them to another key. But this is where this comes in handy. You might recognize this. This is a capo. And if a song is not in a key that you are comfortable with, this is really a great tool to use. Say, playing in the key of G. And that doesn't work for you. Well, take this handy little instrument. Allows you to use the same fingerings that you were using, only now it's in a different key. Now I'll do another video where I explain that more in depth, but it is just very important to make sure that you are singing songs in the key that your voice is comfortable with. A great way to check that, most songs usually in the chorus are higher than in the verses. Not always, but a lot of times the choruses or even the bridges are higher than the verses are. If you just go ahead to the chorus and try singing that and you can't reach them high notes, you know that you have to make an adjustment in the key then to fit your voice. Now this might mean you're not able to perform all the songs that you want to initially, and that's fine. It's more important that the songs that you do sound good than you do all the songs that you want to do and you're straining to hit those notes. In fact, it can be really encouraging as you continue on this path to go ahead and go back and try to do songs that you couldn't do, say, 6 months or a year ago, and you find that through playing you have been able to improve and get better, and now you can do those songs, and that can be an encouragement. As far as your set list, try to pick songs that are familiar, that people know. Now, if you know the crowd at the venue that you're going to be playing in, that can be very helpful, of course. They might like country, they might like older songs. In fact, I do some senior centers, and I know that they like songs anywhere from the 40s, 50s, 60s to the 1970s. So knowing your crowd is great, although that's not always possible. But just try to prepare songs that they are going to be familiar with and sing along with. At least at first, you're probably not going to want to throw originals in there. I have no problem with playing originals, but you've really got to pick and choose when you present an original. People, for the most part, like to hear songs that they're familiar with. And going along with that, it's important to cut out songs that you're not ready to do and replace them with songs that you can perform. If you can't nail them when you practice, then there's not much a chance that you're going to nail the song when you get in front of people, and maybe you're a little nervous and there's a more stressful environment. So if you can't get a song right 2 or 3 times when you're practicing, then that's probably a pretty good sign that you're not ready to play that one out live. So go ahead and replace it with a song that you can do well. And be sure to pick a few songs to open your set with that you're confident that you can perform very well. Now, there's nothing wrong with using a music stand, or as people more commonly do, as I do now, using a tablet, because when you're playing 2 to 3 hours of music, most people can't memorize all those lyrics or possibly chords as well. So if you're using a tablet or music stand to go off of, that's fine, but try to learn as many songs as you can. And when you open a set, make sure that you play songs that you can play from memory. Gives you an opportunity to look at the crowd as you're playing those first couple songs, try to establish a connection with them, and playing songs that you know that you can really nail at the very beginning. It gives you confidence and also gives the audience confidence. Try not to get flustered if you make a mistake, because it's going to happen. When you play that length of music, you're going to make mistakes. But here's the little secret. Most times, people don't even notice those mistakes. So continue playing. That's the secret. Play through. And when you rehearse, do the same thing. Make sure you play through those mistakes so you're prepared for that when you get out in a live setting. Never stop a song and start it over unless completely necessary. Perhaps say you're singing it in the wrong key, you left the capo on, you didn't notice, and you're trying to sing a song that is way too high for you. In that case, you might have to punt and go ahead and take the capo off and try to joke with the crowd a little bit and start the song over. But in most cases, if you make a mistake, just play through that mistake. The audiences don't really notice it, but they do notice if you stop the song and start it over. In conclusion, gigs are just a lot more fun if you are well rehearsed. Certainly doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. You will, we all do, but just play through them, and it gives you confidence if you rehearse that you're going to make it through the show okay. Well, I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm Mike Lamneck with Mike Lamneck Music. Please comment below and subscribe to the channel if this content has been valuable to you, and have a blessed day.